Well, joining us now to discuss the evolution of the travel industry and the path forward is travel expert Francesca Page. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Francesca.
Thanks for having me on.
Let's start with those numbers we just heard from the TSA. Nowhere near the number of people traveling at this time last year, but more people are traveling week to week. So are you surprised by that?
No, not really, and for a number of reasons. First off, people are starting to get stir crazy, inevitably, and as some states start to see leniency in restrictions, people will start to feel like they can travel more. Secondly, we're seeing new mandates for airlines to follow to keep passengers safer, and airlines are no longer being slated as the hotspot to catch the virus. And thirdly, we are heading towards the summer months, so people are going to want to travel more.
For sure. So let's stay with the airlines for a minute. What changes have already started to take place, and what safety measures can we see rolled out perhaps in the coming weeks?
Right, well, airlines are individually coming up with their own procedures to make passengers feel safe again during the coronavirus outbreak, which I add is also an approach coming under fire by the Pilots Association. Now, airlines have had a great deal of flexibility to decide what safety measures are best for them. To date, some airlines require masks while others don't. Some are leaving middle seats open when possible to provide distancing, while others are not yet. Now, airlines like American Airlines or JetBlue now actually require flight attendants to wear masks, have started distributing sanitizers and masks to customers, and have expanded cleaning frequencies. So those are some of the changes that we have seen.
You know, one story that we've been covering a lot, it seems, this past week, we've seen cuts in flights offered to adjust to the demand. And then we've heard many examples of resulting in crowded flights. As a matter of fact, we've been showing video this week. What are the airlines doing to prevent scenes like we're seeing right now on our screen? I know you can't see it right now, but it's pretty crowded on some of these flights.
Yeah, well, I've mentioned the middle seat, and this seems to be the newest development. Many airlines to date have been very open about passengers' rights to ask for a seat reassignment to create more space, and many are now blocking half of all middle seats. But you want to note that seat reassignment is not always guaranteed. Even though there's been some talk of airlines being required to move middle seats altogether, according to the Civil Aviation Minister, the government will not be asking airlines to do this. Now, another major obstacle right now is actually fear among passengers. There's even been stories of people acting out verbally to push back on other passengers for space on the plane, for example, when going to use the restroom.
And Francesca, for those canceling or postponing trips, how are the airlines responding, and what are the loopholes that may still end up costing customers even if they don't travel?
Well, a few weeks back now, the U.S. Department of Transportation mandated airlines to refund passengers in the event flights are canceled or significant schedule changes are made. Now, what if you were originally given a credit before the mandate was passed? Well, if you go back to the airline and attempt to get a refund instead of a credit, note that this is at the discretion of the actual airline. And also remember, as I've said before, that airlines want to keep your business. When a flight is canceled, airline systems try and rebook you on the closest available flight or offer you a credit voucher. But this keeps them holding onto your business and your cash. Now, what do you do if your flight's not cancelled? My recommendation is to hold on to your reservation so that the airline calls the cancellation before you do. And this will increase your chances of being entitled to a refund.
Good advice. All right, let's talk briefly about cruises. Just this week, Carnival announced it will set sail again as soon as August. How is this industry responding, and what do you recommend for anyone hoping to try to book a cruise in 2020?
Well, this is an interesting one, and Norwegian's also in the same boat as Carnival, so to speak, saying they're expecting to sail sometime in 2020. I personally think this is somewhat of a long shot, just due to it being the one mode of transport that originally saw the highest amount of fast-spreading cases. Now, it's important to mention that they've also said they may set sail as soon as August. And actually, in a follow-up statement, Carnival reiterates that if any cruise operations were to resume, it would be fully dependent on their continued efforts in cooperation with federal, state, local, and international government officials. So while I think this is giving people hope, I'm not sure that even if they were to start that soon, they wouldn't be financially shooting themselves in the foot somewhat, as people stay clear of cruise travel for a while.
Would you take a cruise right now?
Personally, I would not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, it's still too early. Well, looking past the summer now and into the busy holiday season, as people start to think about Thanksgiving travel plans, does it make sense to go ahead and book ahead, or should you wait?
I would wait. I personally wouldn't book anything for right now. It's important, however, to have goals, especially at this time. We're all struggling somewhat psychologically. So I think it's healthy to put together some ideas, whether it's a road trip to go see family or just somewhere to get away once everything has sort of settled down. But I wouldn't book anything. I would keep your dates pretty loose at this point.
So perhaps just keep it on the ground. Don't fly. Don't take a cruise in the next year.
I mean, I would also look at the road trip. It's a great way to explore the country and visit family too.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you know, I know a lot of people are anxious about exploring. They want to get out of their homes. I know you have been in the same place. You're a travel expert and you haven't even traveled very much. So a lot of people want to get out and explore, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. And this is why I think we're seeing people starting to look into travel again, looking into air travel, looking into cruise travel. I would say that there's going to be alternative forms of transport that are going to rise in popularity, including, as I've mentioned, the road trip. So you might want to start looking at places you can go via car, if not via plane.
Great advice. Travel expert Francesca Page, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.